From soup to nuts, a phrase that means a great variety of things are included. In considering how we got from the first cells to where we are today, complex organisms made up of many different kinds of specialized cells, scientists could use the phrase from soup to cells. The journey from the chemical soup that existed when the first cells formed through millions of years of changes in the basic units of life is a fascinating and mysterious one. All cells, whether elephant, dog, cat, human, or plant, have basically the same structure. This fact suggests that all cells evolved from a common type of ancestral cell. But what were early cells like? Evidence can be found in fossils dated at around 3.5 billion years old. These fossil cells were very simple, lacking a nucleus or any of the other parts of the cell that carry out special functions. Like bacteria, these first cells were enclosed by a membrane, and they got their food from the soup in which they lived. But after 2 billion years, their food supply began to run out, and cells able to produce their own food must have evolved. But how? Scientists theorize that different kinds of cells began cooperating and living together. This theory is based on the idea of symbiosis, a word that means living together, and that is used to describe a close and permanent relationship between two organisms of different species. A common example is seen in this giant single-cell organism called stentor. These trumpet-shaped protists often cluster on underwater stems and are easily visible to the naked eye. Their green color is due to thousands of algae cells that live in the stentor cytoplasm in a symbiotic relationship. In this protected environment, the algae cells share food, which they make by photosynthesis with their large host cells. This type of cooperation helps both organisms involved in the relationship. In this way, the symbiotic theory may explain all the specialized parts or organelles found in a cell, each organelle carrying out a different life function. Larger cells would play host to smaller cells that made food by photosynthesis, supplied energy by breaking down food, or helped the host to move in exchange for food and protection. By around 1 billion years ago, fossils show the waters of the planet Earth were teeming with a new kind of larger cell, a cell with a nucleus and organelles. Not long after, the first colonies of cells appeared, the evolutionary bridge between single cells and early multicellular life forms. And from this pool of primitive organisms sprang the varieties of life that inhabit Earth today: animals, plants, and modern forms of single-cell life. Scientists are still debating this theory and several others, but one thing is certain: the leap from soup to cells was only the beginning of a process that continues to this day, the evolution of cells.